Heaven's Door. Heaven's Door is the stand of Rohan Kishibe, introduced in Diamond is Unbreakable. Despite lacking in raw power, it remains as one of the most capable stands in the series. Heaven's Door resembles a small boy, similar to Rohan's manga character, Pink Dark Boy. It wears a long overcoat and a flat top hat. Heaven's Door allows Rohan to open any person he targets like a book, by having them view his manga panels or his stand directly. Their body then unfolds to paper, inscribed with every detail of their life, granting Rohan complete knowledge of them, from birth to the present, making the stand unparalleled in intel gathering. But what makes this stand so strong is that Rohan can write directly into their pages and impose commands on the target. He once wrote into Koichi, "I can't attack the mangaka, Rohan Kishibe," and thus Koichi could not attack him. Essentially, Heaven's Door functions like law manipulation. By writing into someone's pages, he inserts a new rule into their existence that are absolute instantly. He can alter memories, grant new skills, rewrite person's perception of events, and paralyze opponents. He can also affect multiple people at once, and even apply these changes to stands themselves. The limitations of the stands is opponents who can't process the art aren't affected. It can only make alterations deemed on what is possible, so he can't just write "become immortal" or "find Kira. And finally, it's primarily close ranged, so it can be countered by a variety of stands. Killer Queen. Killer Queen is the stand of Yoshikage Kira, also introduced in Part 4, Diamond is Unbreakable. It's a deadly stand, with multiple powers centered around producing bombs, with this ability, Bites the Dust, granting the user near immortality through fatal time loops that prevents the user's identity from being leaked, which is perfect for someone like Kira, who wants to stay hidden. Killer Queen appears as a sleek humanoid cat-like stand, with smooth polished surfaces resembling a high-tech assassin. Its basic power is to turn anything it touches into a bomb. Upon detonation, the victim or object is obliterated without trace, leaving no evidence behind. Its second power is Sheer Heart Attack, an autonomous-seeking tank-like bomb that detaches from Killer Queen and relentlessly hunts heat signatures. It is nearly indestructible, tanking countless blows from Star Platinum and cannot be stopped, making it an unyielding weapon. Bites the Dust is a miniature Killer Queen that is implanted into a host after someone learns about Kira's secret. Bites the Dust acts autonomously of Kira's will. When implanted, it activates whenever the host reveals Kira's identity, whether that be audibly, through writing, or whenever someone asks a question related to Kira. Killer Queen then appears in the eyes of the victim and causes an explosion, killing them and anyone else in the vicinity that learns about his identity. Afterwards, Bites the Dust then blows up time itself, creating a temporal loop turning back time an hour before, with only the host retaining its memories. And Kira, he is unaware if a loop occurs. Anyone killed by Bites the Dust in the previous loop is destined to explode at the exact same time they were killed, regardless if they react with the host in the current timeline. This essentially traps anyone pursuing Kira in a fatal loop, making it nearly impossible to reveal or harm him unless you outright kill him or force him to withdraw the stand. Should this occur, all Bites the Dust timelines are erased. Soft and Wet. Soft and Wet is the signature stand of Josuke Higashikata of JoJo's. It has the versatile ability of bubbles that can remove aspects from people or objects. It later evolves into a stronger form, Go Beyond, with an attack that exists outside of logic. Soft and Wet can generate floating bubbles, which Josuke can control. Upon contact with the target, Josuke's core ability, Plunder, temporarily removes physical or conceptual properties, such as sound, friction, or even sensations, essentially reshaping the battlefield mid-fight. He can silence a room, render a floor frictionless, or blind an opponent, essentially manipulating the battlefield. The properties captured within the bubble stays within the bubble, and either it dissipates when it bursts, or is reinstated when Josuke manipulates it. Now we can talk about Soft and Wet, Go Beyond, which generates invisible, high-speed, explosive spin bubbles that transcend physical reality, described as not existing within this world. These bubbles can pass through any surface, unaffected by barriers or calamity, and destroy whatever they touch through rapid erosion and explosive impact. However, this power is highly situational. Its bubbles are uncontrollable and lack precision, forcing Josuke to rely on timing or assistance from others like Paisley Park to effectively direct their path. Star Platinum. Star Platinum is the stand of Jotaro Kujo, featured in Stardust Crusaders, Diamond is Unbreakable, and Stone Ocean. It is the counterpart to Dio's stand, the World, being able to stop time and even surpass it in stats. It is based on the 17th tarot card, the Star, which symbolizes optimism, discernment, and hope. It's a humanoid stand resembling a tall man with similar proportions to Jotaro himself. He has long flowing hair and his skin is usually a hue of purple. Star Platinum is a close-range stand, often described as the strongest by the people around him. Master in power, speed, and precision, save for range, which is usually around 2 meters. Star Platinum has so much strengths. It was once seen to be able to throw a jeep carrying 4 men and 1 girl with one hand and destroy High Priestess's teeth, which were stated to be as hard as diamonds. It can propel itself great distances and inhale with enormous lung power, strong enough to inhale an entire fog stand. Its precision is equally as extraordinary, being able to perform tasks such as catching bullets or tiny stands mid-air and sketch detailed images from blurry photos. It also has eagle-like vision, and even track a professional's card shuffling down to each card's position. Its primary attack is the Aura Aura Rush, an extremely fast but precise barrage of powerful punches that pulverize or destroy objects. Star Finger is Star Platinum's only ranged move, allowing the stand to forcibly extend its middle and index fingers to around double its length, allowing the stand to stab its opponent. Star Platinum, the World, completely stops the flow of time while letting the user move freely. Awakened after realizing that Star Platinum was the same type of stand as the World, Jotaro's length of time stop decreases or increases with use. At his prime, he was able to do 5 seconds, and in later parts it decreases to down to like 1 or 2. Time stop cannot be used repeatedly without short recovery intervals. Weather Report is the stand of the prisoner. Weather Report, also known as West Blue Marine, introduced in Stone Ocean. It's the most versatile stand in the series, focusing on full control over the atmosphere, and its hidden ability, Heavy Weather, just brings the already strong stand to another level. Weather Report is a close-range humanoid stand, with a minimal design covered in cloud-like patterns and horned headgear. Weather Report's basic power is atmospheric manipulation. It controls wind, air pressure, humidity, and clouds, letting it recreate almost any natural weather phenomenon that is possible. It can call down lightning at precise locations, generate violent wind blasts, create thick fog for cover, or make it rain over an area as large as 30 kilometers away. It can also create air currents to sense movements like a radar, or propel the user through the air. Not to mention, it can also create a cloud armor to protect against vacuums, poisonous gas, or projectiles. Later, the stand was also used to increase the oxygen levels in a room so much it becomes lethal. Heavy Weather is the stand's awakened, suppressed ability that emerges when Weather Report's memories and emotions are fully restored. It alters the way sunlight refracts through the Earth's atmosphere, generating unnatural rainbows that blanket a huge area. These rainbows carry subliminal messages that hijack the brains of anyone who sees them, triggering a bizarre condition that slowly transforms victims into snails. The more people panic and touch each other, the more the snail infection spreads through contact and moisture, turning a whole city into a chaos of fragile, helpless snail bodies. King Crimson. King Crimson is the stand of Diavolo, the boss of the Italian mafia Passione from Golden Wind, and it wields the power to see the future and erase time. The stand can also be used by Diavolo's second in command, Doppio, should he allow it. King Crimson is a tall, muscular humanoid stand, covered in a diagonal grid pattern, featuring a smaller face called Epitaph on its forehead that reflects its emotions. Epitaph is actually its first ability, allowing the user to see several seconds in the future, revealed as a projection under his bangs or beside others. Whatever happens in the vision is fated to happen no matter what. It cannot be changed. The only exception is when the user activates King Crimson's main ability, which erases up to 10 seconds of time. During erase time, everyone but the user moves towards their predetermined path, except for Diavolo. He can't interact with anyone while time is erased, so he uses the skip to reposition into blind spots, dodge attacks, and prepare tactics like flinging his own blood to blind enemies. When normal time returns, he strikes instantly, making it seem like his opponents were attacked out of nowhere. Through erasing certain segments in the future, King Crimson can erase fates, where damage occurs to the user, but he can't erase the fates of others. King Crimson can also erase the cause of events, while keeping their effects intact. For instance, when Diavolo kills Narancia in the Colosseum, time is erased. No one witnesses the attack, or remembers it happening, yet Narancia's body ends up impaled on iron bars, exactly as fate dictated. Through time erasure, Diavolo never needs to physically perform the action. The universe itself completes what was destined to occur. A clever way for opponents to detect the skip in time is watching objects that move continuously and watching for any sudden changes. D4C, Dirty Deeds Done Dirt Cheap, is the stand of Funny Valentine, the 23rd President of the United States, in Steel Ball Run. It allows the user to mess with the multiverse itself. Later, it evolves to an even stronger form through Love Train, allowing the user to redirect fate itself, making it one of the most broken stands in the series. Visually, D4C is a humanoid stand, with a sleek costume, reminiscent of a stitched rabbit or stuffed doll, while under its brows appear a cold gaze. Its base stats alone are above average, being able to rival Diego's speed and deliver devastating blows. D4C allows multiple parallel worlds to overlap and lets Valentine freely travel between them. He shifts dimensions by placing any part of his body between two objects, often through a door frame, under a flag, the floor, under falling liquid, and even under a horse or a train. This lets him reappear anywhere, sometimes emerging from another object or person. Valentine can also drag others to different dimensions by forcing them between objects. Valentine can also gather people from other universes to fight for him in the current one. If two versions of the same person meet, they both disintegrate into fractal-like pieces before exploding. This is because two of the same person can't exist in one universe. But this rule, however, doesn't affect Valentine himself. If injured, Valentine can swap with another world's Valentine, transferring D4C and its memories to a new Valentine. Though each Valentine technically has a separate consciousness, they all share identical goals and personalities. Valentine can also summon multiple versions of himself to overwhelm opponents, though only one D4C exists, the one tied to the original world. D4C, Love Train, puts its user into an invincible state. Within a pocket dimension surrounded by a wall of light, Love Train redirects all misfortune or harm that would affect its user to other places around the world. This means that any attacks, accidents, or bad luck meant for Valentine are diverted, making it impossible to harm him directly. Additionally, during Love Train's use, Valentine gains the power to float freely and escalate minor injuries on others into fatal ones. The only known way to counter this formidable defense is through Johnny Joestar's Tusk Act 4. This stand is the final evolution to Johnny's stand, Tusk, which initially went from a simple fingernail blast to later an attack that transcends dimensions to obliterate its opponent. In Act 1, Tusk was just able to fire fingernails like bullets through spin energy, but in Act 2, the nails could create small wormholes and maintain rotation even after missing a target. In Act 3, the wormholes became spatial, allowing Johnny to enter the wormhole his spin generates, allowing him to reposition instantly or strike from strange angles. Act 4 is the limitless rotation. In this form, it is able to channel the limitless energy of the golden spin, creating an attack that transcends spatial limits, allowing Johnny to pierce D4C's dimensional barrier and misfortune redirection. When a target is hit, every cell in their body begins to spin infinitely until they die and disintegrate, following them even across dimensions. This effect will never stop, unless cancelled by an opposite spin. Tusk Act 4's main drawback is that it relies entirely on the golden spin, which is only achievable while on horseback. Silver Chariot Requiem, stand of Jean-Pierre Polnareff, is one of the most chaotic and frightening stands in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, built entirely around absolute protection of the Requiem arrow. This stand is a walking apocalypse. Its appearance is completely black, with a large hat and ringed shoulder pads. Its main power is the complete control of all souls. Upon activation, Chariot Requiem made every living being in Rome go unconscious for around 7 hours. While everyone sleeps, Nearby souls are swapped between bodies, regardless of species, dragging the entire city into a crisis as everyone wakes up in a different body. The stand also gradually mutates surrounding souls into bizarre, otherworldly beings with horrific mutations. The stand operates autonomously from Polnareff, walking around single-mindedly guarding the arrow. The stand mostly ignores outside attacks, unless they interfere with the stand's mission to protect the arrow. Stand users affected by Chariot Requiem get their ability slightly enhanced, evident through Mista's upgrades of Sex Pistols, but also Chariot Requiem can control other people's stands, making them turn on the user if they try to take the arrow. The response is always proportional to the action. Attacking it causes a full-scale retaliation. Despite its overwhelming power, it has a critical weakness tied to its shadow, which is actually the viewer's own soul's shadow, created by a psychic light source hovering above their head that only they can perceive. If a stand user destroys the small light orb casting the shadow, Chariot Requiem is destroyed, its effects end, and everyone's souls and bodies return to normal. Made in Heaven. Made in Heaven is the final evolution of Enrico's Pucci stand in Stone Ocean. It was considered by Dio to be the ultimate stand and the key to achieving heaven. It possesses unparalleled time acceleration, easily overwhelming the strongest stands in the series through light speed attacks. Made in Heaven is a humanoid centaur-like stand with a white body marked by speedometers representing speed and time. Pucci's original stand, Whitesnake, had mind and memory manipulation, and it later evolves into Sea Moon, which controlled gravity and spatial distortion. Finally, it evolves into Made in Heaven, after achieving certain milestones based on the notes of Dio's diary. Made in Heaven accelerates time by manipulating universal gravity, a concept inspired by Einstein's theory of relativity. Since time flows faster with weaker gravity, Pucci amplifies this effect to speed up time across the universe. The acceleration begins subtly, but grows exponentially until reality races to its end and resets, granting humanity heaven through subconscious knowledge of all future events for total peace of mind, with the dead replaced by near-identical substitutes. Wonder of View. Wonder of View is the stand of Toru, JoJolian's final antagonist, known for its autonomous nature and the devastating calamities it brings to those who pursue it. Wonder of View manifested in two forms, as Satoru Afeku, a stooped elderly doctor, visible to non-stand users, dressed in a bowler hat, and its stand form, with a mechanical microphone-like head, sun eyes, and bladed arms. The stand itself is sentient and can act independently at extreme range, phasing through walls and moving around Morio while the user stays hidden. Wonder of View automatically activates Calamity against anyone pursuing it or its user with hostile intent, unleashing a chain of escalating accidents and coincidences that injure or eliminate the attacker before they can even land a direct hit. These calamities scale from small mishaps like slips or falling objects to lethal events, and the closer or more determined the pursuer is, the more catastrophic the consequences become. Any attempt to harm Wonder of View backfires as an accident on the attacker. It functions like a near absolute defense that renders any attack useless unless the attacker ignores logic itself. Golden Experience Requiem. Golden Experience Requiem is the stand of Giorno Giovanna and the evolution of Golden Experience via the Requiem arrow. It's Araki's ultimate stand, surpassing basically every canon stand in the series. Requiem's main ability is to revert all actions and willpower back to the state of zero, completely nullifying them and preventing them from becoming real or reaching a conclusion. It's basically an undo button for reality itself, and once it is active, there is no escape. Any actions the opponent performs will be reverted, regardless of the circumstance. Notably, if an enemy is killed by Golden Experience Requiem, an infinite death loop occurs, as their very death is nullified, infinitely trapping foes to experience death for all of eternity. The World Over Heaven. The World Over Heaven is a non-canon stand that is absolutely broken. It's an evolved form of the world, wielded by Dio Brando in a what-if scenario where Dio defeats the Stardust Crusaders and attains godlike powers. The stand's primary ability is to overwrite reality itself, but it is only activated by its fists. It can erase existences, steal souls, heal and resurrect, and bypass almost any defense, making the stand surpass the most canonically powerful stands in the series, such as Golden Experience Requiem or Tusk Act 4. It also carries the world's time stop ability, but the duration exceeds past 9 seconds. Despite Dio gaining the ultimate stand, its stand type is still said to be the same as Star Platinum, which is Jotaro Kujo's stand, and that's all I know how they defeated the guy. Bohemian Rhapsody is the single most powerful stand in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, but it is also the weakest. So the stand's main ability is that it brings fictional characters from popular images, cartoons, anime, art, and drawings into reality. The stand's range was infinite, spanning across multiple countries, bringing fiction to reality. The characters are made from their source material, like ink or paper, and are hard to destroy. They are also known to unfold like paper and teleport, so running is very difficult. When someone encounters a character they admire, their soul separates from their body, enters the character's role, and follows its fixed fate, often leading to death if the story demands it. So basically, if you see Walter White, you become Walter White and start dealing, eventually facing the consequences of doing that until you die. If you see Rengoku, you become Rengoku and then eventually die. To counter Bohemian Rhapsody, Weather Report forced Van Gogh to create the hero Putback, whose story only ended once all the fictional characters returned to their own universes. By that logic, Bohemian Rhapsody could technically defeat anyone by summoning OP characters whose stories don't conclude until they win. Technically, you could make a character who is unaffected by Made in Heaven, Wonder of You, Golden Experience Requiem, Tusk Act 4, Where the World Over Heaven, yada yada yada, and can one-shot anyone. And it's because of this. It's the strongest stand, because of its infinite potential, but also it's simultaneously the weakest, because its power can be undone by anyone.